How can a single afternoon in my own house turn into a line I cannot cross back? Why did the man I called controlling become the calm center when the papers finally arrived? What does it cost when a woman like me keeps pushing and the law answers, not my voice? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. My name is Aditya Vale, and I am 33, a dental hygienist who smiles for a living and knows how to keep a room calm. I am also a wife to Joel Eaton, who loves order the way some people love music. He sets lists by the coffee maker and places 2 mugs on opposite sides of the counter like tiny borders. I tell myself, borders only matter to people with nothing to defend. I call what I did closure because that word sounds clean. People will say I cheated. I will say I took back a part of myself Joel kept putting into drawers. That morning looked normal. Joel packed our daughter Maya's lunch and asked if I could be home early. I said the clinic might run late. He reminded me about spelling. I said he had a system for that. On the fridge, a red-circled Saturday stared at us. On his phone, a soft ping flashed a calendar line, downtown 3:45 p.m., and he swiped it away. A thin binder labeled utilities sat thicker than bills, and I teased him in my head for loving paper. He opened a drawer. Something small clicked locked when I came closer. I told myself privacy is not a crime when you are tired of being managed. I told myself a conversation with my ex would end a chapter, not start one. At the clinic, Mr. Cho asked how I was holding up. I said I was fine. Lena, my sister, said a little reset fixes everything. Ruth, my mother-in-law, left a warm message about keeping weekends steady for Maya. I said everyone worried too much. I said Joel could loosen his grip. In my mind, I set the scene, a short talk, a neat goodbye, a better me. I believed that if he had loved me loudly, I would not need proof from anyone else. I believed the house belonged to me, so a small secret would stay small. I was wrong about the size. I placed 2 mugs on the kitchen counter and left a wide space between them. Joel checked the lunch list and set Maya's water bottle by the door. He asked if I could be home right after the clinic. I said a patient might run late. He nodded like a person who files things, not like a husband who feels them. The fridge showed a red-circled Saturday. His phone gave a soft ping and flashed a calendar line that said downtown 3:45 p.m. He swiped it away like a fly. I told him he could relax once in a while. He said routine kept our daughter steady. I said routine made a cage. He said cages were for birds, not families, and that we were fine. I did not agree. On the table sat a thin binder labeled utilities, thicker than bills should be. I flipped it open with one finger and saw neat tabs. I teased him that he loved paper more than people. He said order stopped chaos. I said chaos proved life. He smiled without teeth, the smile he used when he did not want to fight. He put the binder away and shut a drawer. When I stepped closer, a tiny click said the lock had caught. I said he did not need to lock things in his own home. He said privacy was calm. I said privacy kept people small. He said calm helped children sleep. Lena texted during breakfast and asked if I was still meeting Caleb for a talk. I said yes, but only for closure. She sent a heart and told me to remember who I was before lists. I told myself the house would look exactly the same after a talk. I told myself a clean goodbye was better than an open wound. I imagined the hour as simple and safe. I said to myself that Joel would not understand, even if I explained. I said to myself that understanding was not the point. Maya asked if I could come to the class reading circle on Friday. I said the clinic made Friday hard. Joel said he would be there early and would bring the dragon book. She looked at him like he had hung the moon, and then at me like she hoped I would touch it too. I said we would see. My answer sounded thin in the air. She folded her paper star and put it in her backpack. Before I left for work, I walked past the guest room, and saw the comforter pulled half down. The guest bed was slightly disturbed from last night when I had scrolled in the dark. It looked like a line I had already crossed without moving. I smoothed it with my palm and told myself details mean nothing. When I turned, Joel's phone lit with a call marked private. He let it buzz once, then muted it. I asked who used blocked calls on a weekday morning. He said not to worry, and that he would handle errands later. I said errands sounded dramatic. He said my tone sounded dangerous. I laughed like I was above danger. At the clinic, I smiled and counted seconds with a scaler in hand. I said maybe Mason could give the birthday man a night off by sleeping with me instead. I spread my hands like it was a show. The room froze like a photo. Mason blinked and looked at Brent, then at me. He said that was not funny. He said he cared about both of us. He asked if I was serious. I laughed and said it was a joke to honor the day. I said we lived in modern times. I said grown-ups should be brave. People gave those small laughs that are not laughs. Ruth stood and said she would get Leo some water. She took his little hand and led him to the hallway. Leo looked back because he had heard the word sleep. Brent did not shout. He set the cake knife down carefully. He thanked everyone for coming and said he was glad people made time. He asked if anyone wanted coffee. I said no one needed coffee in a house with this much energy. Nora clapped twice and said I was fearless. Mason raised his palms and said he would head out early. I said people who leave early miss the best parts. He said lines mattered. He said he did not want to play with this. He put his hat on and told Brent happy birthday with a flat voice. He left without cake. I tried to soften the air. I said I teased because I loved big. I said the joke meant Brent was safe to me. People started to talk to each other to rebuild normal. Ruth returned with Leo and asked if the candles were ready. Brent said yes. We sang. I sang louder than everyone. The flame shook a little when Brent leaned in. He made a wish. He blew. The smoke curled up like a warning. Leo clapped and asked if we could eat cake on the floor like a picnic. Brent said the table was fine. I said the floor would be memorable. Brent cut slices in even squares and passed them around. After cake, I followed him to the porch. I said he had made me look mean by not laughing. He said a joke needs consent. I said he smiled a little. He said he smiled to keep Leo calm. I said I felt alone. He said he heard me. I said hearing is not the same as heat. He looked at the yard and said he was going to take out the trash. I said I would post a photo to show people we are fine. When I came back inside, Nora asked if I was okay. I said I was a star and stars glow after storms. She said I should post the candle picture with a fun caption. I said I would. Ruth guided Leo to the sink to wash sticky fingers. She said in a low voice that some words cannot be repainted. I said she was old school. She said old schools still teach. People left in gentle pairs. There was no slam, only soft coats and small thank yous. The house grew quiet. Brent stacked plates like a ritual. I wanted him to fight. He would not. He set his phone on the counter. A small banner flashed for a second. Downtown 9:20 p.m. He swiped it away. I asked what that was. He said personal. I said secrets are not attractive. He said privacy helps him think. I said thinking does not fix dull. He said dull is not our problem. I posted the candle picture with a caption about wild hearts and smart love. Nora added 3 fire emojis. Mason did not like it. I told myself he would come around. I told myself Brent would apologize for being stiff. I told myself the room had clapped inside, even if it did not show on faces. I told myself the world loves brave wives. I ignored the small knot in my chest. When I carried the last dish to the sink, Brent's phone buzzed again. A text preview flashed and vanished. I could see only the first word, follow, then gone. He put the phone in his pocket and stepped onto the porch for air. The front door closed softly behind him. The sound felt like a period. Morning made the joke feel like a headline I could not change. I walked into the co-working lobby with a bright scarf and a plan. I said to myself that I would frame the line as edgy and kind. I said Brent was fine, so the room should be fine. I stacked mail with a smile. The elevator opened. Cara, my manager, stepped out with a clipboard. She asked if we could have a quick word. I said the desk needed me. She said quick again, and the tone told me to follow. In the small HR room, she asked if everything at home was calm. I said it was a party, and parties are loud. She said 2 tenants had DM'd her a clip. I said clips never show the warm parts. She said the brand did not want to be part of any drama. She asked me to keep personal content off the space tags. I said humor is healing. She said clients come for calm. I said I could be calm. She thanked me and said the floor needed me now. I returned to the desk and found a vase that needed straightening. A tenant in a hoodie asked if Brent liked his birthday. I said he loved it. The tenant said the cake looked good. I said the cake was perfect. He said the neighborhood chat was buzzing. I said neighbors needed jobs. He laughed, not kind, and walked away. At lunch, I went home for a sweater because the building vents made a draft. The house held still. On the table sat Brent's laptop, open but sleeping. I touched the trackpad, and the screen woke to a neat spreadsheet with initials and dates. I said to the empty room that spreadsheets are for people who cannot feel. I heard the front steps and closed the lid. Brent came in with a bag of light bulbs. He asked if I needed anything. I said I needed him to stop acting like a judge. He said he was changing light bulbs. I said he was changing stories. He said he was keeping the house working. He set the bag down and opened a small drawer. When I moved closer, the lock clicked. I asked why he locked a drawer in his own house. He said calm. I said drama. He did not answer. He checked his phone and stepped out to the porch. Through the window, I saw him with headphones on, speaking in a low, even voice. He looked like a person reading a recipe to someone. He ended the call and typed something. On the lock screen, I caught a thread title, Follow Up. He slid the phone away and walked down the steps to the sidewalk, not in a hurry. I looked at the coffee maker and saw a sticky note by the switch. It said, bring forms in his block letters. I took a picture of it and then deleted the picture because it felt like a theft. I turned to the printer to distract myself. It spooled and spat a blank page, then went quiet, like a cough that hides something. I put the page in the tray and told myself printers misbehave sometimes. I told myself I was reading ghosts. Back at the lobby, Cara watched me arrange visitor passes. She asked if I was feeling okay. I said I am resilient. She said resilience is good, but calm is better. I said calm is boring. She said boring is safe. I said safe is how people fall asleep in their own lives. She did not answer. She moved to the glass doors to greet a sponsor. Nora sent a message that said we should post a cheeky reel about wives who joke hard. I said maybe tonight. She sent a wink. Mason sent a short text that said he needed space. He said last night crossed a line. He said he cared about the family. He asked me not to put him in a post. I stared at the words and felt a strange burn behind my eyes. I replied with a thumbs up and then blocked the screen with my hand as if someone would read over my shoulder. During the afternoon rush, 2 women hovered near the coffee. One said my name, then best friend, then on his birthday. I kept my head high and smiled at a courier. I said to the courier that packages were pure. He said he liked pure jobs. He asked me to sign. I wrote my name like a person who gets things done. At 5, I walked to the phone alcove for a minute of air. Through the glass, I saw Brent on the sidewalk across the street again. He was not hiding. He was just not engaging. He put the phone to his ear with headphones on and nodded at no one, the way people nod when they agree with a plan. He ended the call and slipped a small USB stick with today's date written on a label into a fabric pouch. He did not see me. He crossed the street and kept walking, without a glance at the lobby doors. On my way home, I stopped at the pharmacy queue for lip balm. Kendra, our neighbor, stood 3 places ahead of me. She turned, saw me, and smiled with that soft concern that becomes gossip by night. She asked if Brent enjoyed his party. I said it was lovely. She said the neighborhood chat had a question about a joke. I said neighbors should mind their own kitchens. She said people worry about vibrations around children. I said the word vibration sounded silly. She said people are silly when they are scared. I bought the balm and left without saying goodbye. At home, Brent made pasta for Leo and set 2 bowls on the counter. He asked if I wanted some. I said I was not hungry. He asked if I could sit with Leo while he ate. I said I had a post to draft. Leo asked if I could watch his new trick with the fork. I said later. Brent nodded and told Leo the trick looked interesting. He wiped the counter and moved a mail stack. I saw flipped envelopes and a neat fan of stamps. He placed a thin binder on the shelf and then checked the clock. He told Leo bath time would be in 10 minutes. Leo asked if 10 minutes meant 2 songs. Brent said yes. The house felt like a machine built to save a child. I went to the study to prove I still had a key to the life I chose. The drawer made a faint click again. I told myself I hated the sound. I returned to the kitchen and opened my social app. I wrote a caption about modern love and brave jokes. I wrote that people who fear humor fear life. I chose a soft filter. I pressed post. The screen flashed and then shook as if the app were a small animal. A group chat ping lit the top bar. The message showed a blurred clip from our living room. In the clip, my silhouette stood by the cake. The caption read, "Did she just offer his best friend as a gift?" Comments stacked. "Wow, poor guy, stop, yikes." I scrolled. My chest felt tight. I checked my screen and sent the organizer at the community center a message. I said I could add 5 minutes to the evening class to share a positive note on boundaries. She said the class liked positive notes. I said I would keep it sweet. Lena said a little speech could flip the whole week. I said exactly, and I said, people love a woman who forgives. Lena asked if Joel had apologized yet. I said he had apologized with silence, and that he liked to pretend silence was wisdom. She rolled her eyes for me and said I should wear the blouse that made me look gentle. We left the promenade and stopped for tea. At the window, I saw Kendra snap a picture of the river and then angle her phone toward me like she was catching the sky. I told Lena that neighbors acted kind when they collected proof. Lena said I should ignore and glow. I said glow needed witnesses. She laughed and said I was funny when I was furious. I said I was not furious, I was focused. At dusk, the community center hall filled with regulars who liked to stack words like pillows. The organizer welcomed everyone and said we would end with a short share from a local mom about balance. I felt the word mom press on me like a soft hand. I walked to the front and stood by the folding chairs. People raise their phones the way they do when they think something will slip and they want to keep it. I kept my voice even and sweet. I said healing belongs to all of us. I said sometimes we meet old friends and close doors. I said the internet loves to skip the part where humans are complex. I said my home is safe and my family is strong. I did not say ex. I did not say bedroom. I did not say court. A woman near the aisle asked if I thought it was respectful to meet anyone in a room a child sleeps near. Her tone was light. Her words were heavy. I said, fear speaks in that way. I said, love needs room and privacy. She asked if privacy was the same as secrecy. I smiled like a teacher and said privacy is respect. People murmured in that low way that feels like a hand over a mouth. The side door opened and Joel stepped in. He held Maya's little sweater, the one with clouds. He did not look at me. He set the sweater on a chair in the second row and nodded to the organizer. He tapped his phone and a small calendar dot glowed. I recognized the shape from his screen at home. He slid the phone away. I said to the room that it takes a village. He left as quiet as a moving shadow. I kept speaking because stopping would be surrender. I said judgment is easy, care is harder. I said I had chosen care. As I said it, I felt the words loosen in my mouth like a button when the fabric gives. A dad from the school stood, not to talk, but to move to the aisle. He lifted his phone and held it steady. I pretended the light did not change. After the session, I followed Joel out into the parking garage because I wanted to show him I was not afraid. He stood by the open trunk. A clipboard sat on top with one word clear at the top. Statement. I asked what he planned to say, and he said the word helped him keep track of drafts. He placed the clipboard inside, next to 3 binders labeled Home, Auto, Bank. I said he loved labels more than people. He said labels kept people from tripping. He put a pouch in the side pocket, and I saw a thin USB drive with today's date on a sticker. He said nothing. His car faced the street, like it had already decided where to go. I took a breath to argue and heard footsteps pause behind a pillar. The sound stretched and then stopped, like someone waited for the right ending. I asked Joel if he planned to tell everyone I was dangerous. He said he planned to keep Maya's days clear. I said he was painting me as a risk to my own child. He said he was building a wall against noise. I told him walls were for cowards. He said walls were for wind. The words did not hit hard. They sat there and refused to move. He closed the trunk and the click felt like a stamp on a page. I drove home thinking a bolder move would break this fog. I picked an outfit that said calm teacher and posted a story about choosing grace. Little hearts bubbled up for a minute. Then a new clip popped into the group chat. Me on stage saying privacy is respect, paired with a caption that said some doors should stay closed. The phone light made my room look colder. I told myself the answer to phones was more eyes in the room. I told myself a bigger crowd would make my version stick. I typed a message to a few friends and said we should meet at a small bar after my talk next week and toast to messy hearts. One replied with a laugh, one with nothing. The room hummed with the quiet of late appliances. From Joel's office at the end of the hall, I smelled printer toner. Something in the house recorded itself. I felt watched by my own walls and hated that I had ever thought a house could keep a secret. Ruth's birthday came like a test I did not study for. I had followed him with my eyes without meaning to. His trunk was open as he packed a box. I saw the edge of a clipboard, with one word at the top, statement. Inside the trunk, 3 binders sat side by side with labels that read, Home, Auto, Bank. His car faced the street like a runner at the line. He closed the trunk and drove away without looking up. I told myself the binders were a hobby, not a sign. Back at the bar, the chant for a toast flared again, and someone's flash went off too close to my eyes. I blinked and smiled because I knew how to pretend the light was mine. Nora said we had enough footage to heal a village. I said the village would never say thank you. She said villages rarely do. She ordered fries like that could anchor us. Later that night at home, I passed the study and saw the laptop screen wake for a breath. A small CloudSync pop-up said, File uploaded successfully. I called into the hall and asked Brent if he was uploading our future. He said from the kitchen that he was cleaning up files. I said cleaning up looked like plotting. He did not answer. I checked my phone to drown the quiet. A new post appeared of me at the patio, captioned, She offered best friend as a gift. The video ended on my smile like a knife. Comments multiplied quickly. I told myself a bigger smile would fix it. I stood at the sink and washed a glass until my hands pruned. Brent came in, turned the faucet down, and set the glass in the rack. He asked if Leo's lunch was set. I said it would be. He said he would pack it now. I said he liked to be a hero. He said heroes were for cartoons. Homes needed steadiness. He put bread in a bag and set fruit in a small green box without looking at me. When I went to bed, I tried to imagine a caption that would turn the angle. Every sentence felt like a glove inside out. I scrolled until the screen looked like water. People were still toasting in the comments, like they were in the room with me. I told myself tomorrow would be easier. I told myself I would steer the family back into my light. Ruth's birthday dinner sat on the calendar like a test I had to pass to graduate from this week. I told myself family always forgives if the cake is moist. We met at a family restaurant with long tables and cheerful lamps. Ruth wore a soft blue sweater and greeted Leo first. She said his hair needed a small trim. He said he wanted to keep it long, like a knight. She smiled at him and told him knights keep their promises. He nodded, very serious. I had planned to control the tone by arriving calm and early. I arrived on time and already felt late. Brent moved chairs without asking. He said the server had the kids' menu ready. I told him we were not that kind of family. He said we were the kind that lets a child color while food cooks. He gave Leo the crayons. Leo drew a castle with thick lines. I raised my glass and said I wanted to toast Ruth for raising a son who loves steady things. I said the internet can be mean, but families are kind. I said people should not punish women for brave humor. A couple at the next table looked up at the word punish and then looked down again quickly. Ruth thanked me and said, gentleness was a gift we could all use. She did not look at me when she said it. She looked at Leo. Nora rushed in with a gift bag and said traffic was unkind. She kissed Ruth's cheek and whispered that I looked like a headline. I told her I was over it. She said the room was not. Ruth asked what Leo wanted to eat. He said he wanted plain noodles. Brent asked for water for everyone. I asked for a spritzer. The server wrote things down carefully like we were all important. I tried to keep the talk sweet. I said we were modern and strong. I said the clip lacked context. Ruth stirred her tea and said context follows conduct. I said conduct changes with time. She said time makes roots and roots hold houses. I said our house had strong walls. She said walls are not the same as roots. Brent watched the door to keep Leo from running sudden, like he always did. He said we should keep the evening gentle. I hated how kind that sounded. Halfway through dinner, a woman near the window lifted her phone like she was stretching her wrist and then angled it toward us for a moment. I said to Brent that people were sneaking photos and he should say something. He said we would not feed gossip. I said silence helps bullies. He said silence helps children eat in peace. He asked Leo about art class. Leo said he had drawn a dragon that looked like a dog. Brent said he wanted to see it. Leo smiled and returned to his castle. I tried another toast because I believed repetition could turn truth. I said sometimes wives tease to show trust. I said my line meant we are not small. Nora cleared her throat and said we all joke badly sometimes. Ruth placed her hand flat on the table. She said we should talk about birthdays, not about philosophy. Her voice was warm and final. It closed the subject without drama. He said pens were in the kitchen jar. He passed me and pushed the door closed with 2 fingers. I heard the latch settle like a tiny decision. I went to the kitchen and found his phone on the counter. A calendar buzzed and flashed. Meeting, personal as a recurring dot. He dismissed it fast. I said meetings should have names if they are real. He said privacy helped him think. I said privacy looked like plotting. He said planning was not a crime. I said women plan too. He said then I should plan rest. Maya came in pajamas and asked if Dad could bring the dragon book to reading circle so her teacher would see the best pictures. Joel said yes. She asked if I would come too. I said I would try. She asked if I had promised. I said I had not promised, but I would try. She looked down and pressed her lips together. She said trying was not a promise. The word promise felt like a stone on my tongue. I said I would do my best. She nodded without smiling and went to brush her teeth. I set the candle out and stared at the wall where our family photo used to hang before I had moved it to make room for a mirror. The mirror looked back at me with the face I had chosen. Calm, careful, in control. I heard Joel hum something low as he folded laundry. He did not hum love songs. He hummed timing. The house did not love me back the way it used to. I told myself a big, soft gesture would turn the tide, so I arranged flowers on the table and filmed a bright reel about choosing grace under pressure. I kept my voice warm and my eyes wide. I said, women should not be punished for complex hearts. I said, families bend. I tagged no one and posted it with a calm song. The hearts rose, then slowed, then stopped. A comment asked if grace included house rules. I put the phone face down and said the town could choke on its doubts. From the hallway, I caught the faint smell of printer toner, warm and dusty, like the house had started breathing on paper. I walked toward Joel's little office. His laptop glowed. A neat spreadsheet with initials and dates filled the screen. He saw me and minimized it. I said he could show me since we were partners. He said the sheet helped him track Maya's routines. I said routines were a leash. He said routines were a map. I said maps got used by people who fear getting lost. He said maps get children home. On the browser bar, I saw tabs, storage options, delivery tracking, notary near me. I laughed and called it a scavenger hunt. He said getting organized was not a crime. I said plotting is a kind of crime. He said planning keeps chaos out. I said I was not chaos. He did not argue. In the evening, we passed in the kitchen, like careful strangers. He placed 2 mugs on opposite counters and asked if I wanted tea. I said I wanted loyalty. He said loyalty was steady, not loud. I said loud proved love. He said loud scared children. The room held our breath for us. He set down his phone, and an alarm labeled paper drop flashed and then vanished under his thumb. I asked what papers needed dropping. He said he would handle errands. I said errands sounded like secrets. He said secrets hurt, plans help. I needed proof that he still burned. I told him people were whispering, and he should correct them. He said he would not perform for neighbors. I said he cared more about being right than about me. He said he cared about Maya's sleep. I said I felt unsafe with all his lists. He said he would keep records anyway. I said only guilty people keep records. He said only careful people keep records. He opened his laptop again. The desktop showed a clean tree labeled Archive A and Archive B. He copied a folder, and a small bubble popped up. File uploaded successfully. I called it theater. He called it organization. I escaped to the balcony and filmed another short video with the city in the background. I said, mistakes do not define a marriage. I said I refuse shame. I said people should log off and touch grass. As I spoke, the window behind me reflected Joel at the table, placing a single USB stick labeled with the date into a cloth pouch. The picture pinched my chest in a way I could not name. The next day, I took normal back by force. I went to the supermarket for bread and apples, and to be seen telling a cashier about recipes. Kendra rolled up with a cart and asked if I was holding up. I said I was fine and that the town needed a new hobby. She said the town had children to think about. I said children learn resilience from strong mothers. She said they learn calm from steady rooms. I asked if she had advice or just sayings. She said she had a wish for quiet. I laughed and said quiet is overrated. Back home, Joel had already made lists for the week. He taped the pickup schedule to the side of the fridge with blue painter's tape, as if blue could make it gentle. I said I hated notes on walls. He said walls help everyone see. I said everyone meant me. He said everyone meant Maya, primarily. He asked if I had time to read with her tonight. I said I might. He said promises matter. I said he could stop trying to manage my day. I waited until night to confront him, because night makes everything sound louder. He stood at the sink drying a pan. I said I wanted an apology for the way he had looked at me in our hallway. He said he would not apologize for seeing what he saw. I said he had twisted a moment into a weapon. He said he had stopped talking when I started performing. I said he made me perform by staying cold. He said he was not cold, he was careful. I said careful killed love. He said reckless killed trust. I told him he had to make a choice. Love me out loud or watch me defend myself without him. He said he would not argue. I said I would force a scene if I had to. He said a scene helped no one, least of all Maya. I said he always hid behind her name. He said he stood in front of her, and that was different. He dried his hands on a towel and looked at me with that level gaze that made me want to throw a plate. He said he had tried quiet repair. He said noise kept breaking it. He said the next steps would be proper. The word sat between us like a locked box. I asked what proper meant. He said it meant formal and fair, and that he would take care of things the right way. I said he was threatening me. He said he was protecting a child. I told him deadlines and binders did not make him a hero. He said binders did not need to be heroic, they needed to be clear. He walked to the office and shut the door gently. The lock did not click, but the air did. I stood in the kitchen and heard the house make those tiny night sounds, the fridge fan, the clock tick, a faraway car. When he came back, he placed his phone on the counter. It buzzed a soft reminder, paper drop, and he dismissed it again without speaking. I said he should stop with the drama. He said he would see this through. I went to the guest room and lay on top of the covers like a person waiting for a verdict. In the dark, I rehearsed lines that would make him cry and then hold me. None of them sounded real. I fell asleep thinking about the USB in the pouch and the way he had said proper, like he had already put his feet on the next stone in the river. He texted that he would get in the school pickup line early and asked me to meet there so we could go over weekend plans. I read the text as an opening and imagined a tidy public truce. I did my hair and chose a mild sweater. I told myself a gentle tone can unspool any knot. The afternoon sun made the asphalt shine. Cars idled in 2 long rows like tame animals. Teachers walked between bumpers with clipboards. The bell rang, and children's voices swelled behind the fence like water behind a gate. I saw Ruth 2 rows back in her sedan. She lifted a small wave that said polite, not warm. Lena stood near the crosswalk, arms folded, watching me like I was a headline. Joel pulled in 3 cars ahead of me. He looked at the mirror, then straight ahead. He was not dressed for a fight, he was dressed for an errand. I stepped out of my car when the line paused and walked toward him, careful and smiling, like a mother modeling grace. I said we could fix this if we presented unity. He said we would speak clearly. I said clearly meant together. He said clearly meant by the book. The phrase by the book made my mouth go dry. He kept his hands visible and relaxed, the way he always did when he wanted me to know there would be no scene. A woman in a neutral jacket approached along the lane, moving with the rhythm of someone who has done this many times. She asked to confirm my name. I said yes. She said she was there to serve documents. The word serve felt like a door I had not noticed until it opened on me. She held out a large envelope with my name on a sticker. She said it contained a petition and temporary orders regarding money and possession of the home, with a temporary parenting schedule attached. She stated the time and said service was complete. Her tone was flat, not cruel. The air around us thinned. I told Joel this was harassment. He said this was the correct channel. I said he could have kept this private. He said private had not worked. I said he was ruining Maya's life. He said the schedule would help Maya breathe. I said I would not accept it. He said accepting was not required for it to begin. A parent near the sidewalk looked at the envelope and then at my face. She whispered to another parent and then pretended to study a clipboard. The whistle at the end of the row blew softly. The line edged forward. A teacher waved Joel's car up and told him his lane would move in 30 seconds. He nodded and thanked her. He spoke gently, the way people speak in libraries. I opened the envelope because not opening it felt like standing with my eyes closed in a street. The first page carried both our names. The words temporary orders stood in bold. He said he would not fight, he would repair. I asked how. He paused and breathed. He said he would handle this properly. The word sat like a cold coin in my palm. I asked what properly meant. He said it meant formal and fair, and it meant he would not argue in circles. I said fairness is for courts, not kitchens. He said kitchens break when fairness leaves. I said he was threatening me. He said he was protecting Leo. He rinsed his cup and set it down with care. He told me the next steps would be clear and he would follow them. He walked to the study. The shredder hummed once, then stopped. I stood by the door and the wood looked harder than wood. He came back, put his phone on the counter, and an alarm labeled paper drop pinged again. He dismissed it and said we would talk tomorrow, but not loudly. He turned off the light. I lay in the guest room and tried to write a caption that would win the town back. I wrote 10 and deleted 10. The house made small night sounds, a ticking clock, a settling pipe, a car passing. I thought of the USB in the pouch and the neat words on the clipboard. I thought of Leo's thin fingers around a crayon. I wanted the morning to choose me. I did not know how to choose it. He texted at noon that he would get in the school pickup line early and that I should meet him there so we could go over the weekend plan. I read that line as a peace sign. I put on a soft sweater and told myself a gentle voice could undo a week. The parking lot shone with sun. Cars idled in 2 lines. Teachers walked with clipboards. The bell had just rung. The sound still hung like a ribbon in the air. I saw Ruth 2 cars back with a thermos in her cup holder. She lifted a small wave and then looked ahead. Nora stood near the crosswalk, arms folded, scanning the line like a reporter who had run out of ink. Brent pulled in 3 cars ahead of me. He looked straight ahead and then checked his mirror. He did not look angry. He looked like someone on a schedule. When the line paused, I stepped out and walked to his window with a smile already set. I said we could fix this if we showed unity to the school. He said we would speak clearly. I said clearly meant together. He said clearly meant by the book. The phrase made the day cooler. A woman in a neutral jacket walked along the lane with calm steps. She asked to confirm my name. I said yes. She said she was here to serve documents. The word serve felt like a door I had not seen until it opened under my feet. She handed me a large envelope with my name on a small sticker. She said it contained a petition and temporary orders regarding finances and possession, with a temporary parenting schedule attached. She noted the time and said service was complete. Her tone was even, not unkind. The sound of cars idling grew louder in my ears. I told Brent this was harassment. He said this was the correct channel. I said he could have kept it private. He said private had not worked. I said he was breaking our family in public. He said the schedule would help Leo breathe. I said I would not accept it. He said acceptance was not required for it to begin. 2 parents near the sidewalk looked at the envelope and then away, pretending to study the grass. An aide waved the lane forward. A teacher told Brent his car would move in a moment. He nodded and thanked her. His hand stayed visible on the wheel, open, calm. I opened the envelope because not opening it felt like refusing to see an oncoming car. The first page held both our names. The words temporary orders were bold but plain. A grid listed days and times and handoffs. Another section mentioned temporary financial and possession arrangements until further order. There were no loud words. The quiet of the paper was heavier than any shout I knew. I said he could delete the files, and we could tell people the clip lied. He said he would not delete truth. I said we could start over without paper. He said we would follow the page. I asked if he loved me. He said he loved our child and would not let love be used to excuse harm. The sentence landed without sharpness and still cut. The process server wrote something on a small pad and stepped back. Ruth opened her door an inch and then closed it again. She did not move. Nora called my name softly, like I might stumble. I did not stumble. I felt the envelope's edge against my thumb, and then a small sting as it nicked the skin. The pain was thin and real. I stared at the paper like it might forgive me if I read it twice. The gate opened. Children came out in small groups, voices high and bright. Leo looked for us both. He saw Brent's car first and lifted his hand. He looked for me next and saw me standing with the envelope. He hesitated, then followed the aide to the correct lane, exactly as the grid on the page would have told him if he could read it. He climbed into the back seat and buckled himself. I saw his face in the mirror. Brave, careful, a little older.